We thought this morning that an existential crisis had come to the Pac-12, but some 11th hour drama creating a sliver of optimism, which may have now been dashed. So it's back and forth. Let's bring in our college football senior writer, Pete Thamel. Pete, I'm following you all morning, and I have whiplash. I thought it looked good for the Pac-12, then it did. Where do we stand? I know there was a meeting this morning. What happened?
Yeah, David, this has been as fluid and dynamic of a story as I've ever covered in my 20 years covering college sports. To start with the morning meeting, when the Pac-12 had a meeting 7 a.m. Pacific time, there was some optimism because of a myriad variables that they could actually land the plane and have all the presidents sign the grant of rights to the Apple contract. It would have been a primarily streaming deal. Oregon didn't love some of the financial offers from the Big Ten. Arizona State was kicking and screaming about going to the Big 12. And there was a thought that maybe everyone would stay together. That thought has ended for now. As the morning progressed, and now we hit early afternoon here, I've been told by sources that Oregon and Washington are now, and maybe again, fully engaged with the Big Ten. Things are back trending in that direction. There's a Big Ten president's meeting that's supposed to be imminent that could end up with a vote for Oregon and Washington. There's still always hurdles. Everything is fluid in realignment, but the Pac-12 went from a morning of optimism to, again, maybe on the cusp of its demise.
Okay, the Big Ten, it sounds like hastily calling a meeting to see if they can get Oregon and Washington in the fold. What about Arizona, Pete?
Well, Arizona has applied to and been accepted to the Big 12. There are still steps before that gets formalized, and part of the final steps of the issues that Arizona was facing was that Arizona State really didn't want to go. Michael Crow, the president of Arizona State, has been a staunch Pac-12 guy. He was Larry Scott's supporter long after anyone supported Larry Scott, the former commissioner, who ended up really putting the Pac-12 in this predicament where its demise was inevitable. So Arizona and Arizona State, the Board of Regents would prefer them to stay together, as most boards would, two flagship schools that have long been rivals and played in the same conference. If Oregon and Washington do end up in the Big Ten by the end of the day, which is, again, a distinct possibility, it's going to then be easier for Arizona State to follow Arizona because they don't have anywhere to go. Oregon and Washington represent the linchpin of the Pac-12. If they end up completing the deal and completing the negotiations that they're in, the Pac-12 as we know it will spiral, unfortunately and sadly, after a century of existence, into an unrecognizable form. Arizona's already done the paperwork and have gone. Utah would be expected to follow, but there's still hurdles there. And then Arizona State would have to reluctantly follow up. So the thought is those three corner schools in the upcoming days could line up. But again, these are all big, complicated decisions. There's boards, there's governors. There's no certainties in realignment until signatures are made and press releases are sent out.
What's amazing to me, Pete, about all of this is it's happening in real time. Presidents are calling snap meetings. They're getting together. It's going quickly. From what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like this could be the last throes of the Pac-12 if those schools go away.
The Pac-12, as of right now, needs a Hail Mary. There's a thought that they could have some support if Oregon and Washington reversed course here and maybe stayed together. But that does not appear likely at this moment. But again, at 9 o'clock this morning, there was some optimism that maybe everybody would come together. So ultimately, that Apple streaming deal was hard to digest, and it's just not a conventional television deal that a lot of these presidents are used to.
All right. Pete Thamel with the very latest on this wild ride for the Pac-12 and really conferences all over this country. Stay tuned and buckle up. We appreciate the time, Pete.